No, just kidding. It's me. Don't worry. Anyway, welcome back and hello to another amazing episode of Game Changers here on Heroes Manufactured. It's your host, Addy, as always. And today I'm very excited for this super special Halloween themed episode to bring to you guys. I'm a huge fan of Halloween. This is one of my favorite times of year. So I figured, on Game Changers, we're all about talking video games. So I figured, why not break down my three favorite Halloween scary horror themed games for you guys. And today I have a special co-host, as always, as you know, Yarn Beitan. Welcome to Game Changers.
Hey, yeah. Well, how's it going, buddy?
I'm good, man. Super excited to break down these horror themed video games for these guys
Yeah,
today.
I'm wearing my special Spawn shirt, guys, for any Spawn lovers.
Nice, yeah. And I'm rocking that Friday
That's
the
like,
13th. Huge
yeah,
Friday the 13th fan, as you already know.
there you go. There you go. That's actually one of the games I believe that we're going to be talking about today, right?
Yes, for sure. That is one of my favorites. And, let's just, as typical Game Changer style, jump right into it with the first game we have today. And one of my favorite Halloween themed games is Dark Pictures Anthology Man of Medan. Now, this is a bit of a hidden gem. I don't think too many people play this one or really know what it is. It came out a couple of years ago, and it is in the same vein as games like Heavy Rain and more specifically Until Dawn, um, in the sense that it is a basically choose your own adventure game. Now, I don't really usually tend to play games like this, but it works so well as a horror themed game because it feels like you're playing a horror movie. We've all been in the scenario where we're watching a horror movie and we're, yelling at the screen, screaming at the screen, oh my God, why did he go in there? What is he doing? Why did he trip? Now you're in control. You're the one who's controlling the character. So everything that you do is your own fault. So it really brings that sense of like, oh my God, like I'm in a horror movie. It adds like another layer of fear, which is a lot of fun. I played this game with my family when it first came out, and it was super fun. They actually have a multiplayer mode where one player has the controller at a time. They're each assigned one character. So whenever their character is like playing in the game, you got to pass the controller to that person, and it's really cool because one person can mess up the whole story. Because as you know, in Until Dawn, it's one of those games with like a butterfly effect type of mechanic where depending on the decisions you make and the actions you take, it can change the course of the story. You can change scenarios and the entire ending. So it was pretty crazy. You can lose characters. You can kill people off. It's such a wild ride, and I highly recommend it to everybody. Aaron Ashmore is actually in it, which is pretty cool. He acts in the game as well. So
Yeah,
we
him
got
and his brother Sean Ashmore. If you guys remember Sean Ashmore from, he was Iceman in X Men, and Aaron I think did like the Terry Fox movie a few years ago, but he's done a bunch of stuff as well. Both great actors. I know Sean and Aaron. I've met them a few times before through another colleague of mine from years ago. So great
oh,
Canadian actors. They're part of, people don't realize this, but these guys do video games, and they do great video games. I mean. I believe also Sean worked on a video game a while back on Xbox. So yeah, there's some pretty cool stuff that they're doing, man. That's awesome.
yeah, he was in Quantum Break. That was a wicked game on Xbox as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, so back to Dark Pictures. Super great game. It's very fun, and the story is what really makes this game shine. The premise of it is you play as this deep sea diving crew who is looking for this like sunken World War II fighter plane, and things go south immediately in the beginning of the game when you're like kidnapped by these Somali pirates, and you're brought aboard this ghost ship. Now, I don't want to get into the really specifics of what's going on and why. It's something you just really got to play for yourself. It's super fun, super rewarding story, and interesting as well. Makes you want to like keep finding out what happened and replay it as well. There's a lot of replayability in the sense that you can find out all the different scenarios you might have missed and stuff like that. And fun fact is, the game is actually based on a true story, which adds another spooky Halloween layer to the game. The story is based on this myth or legend, I guess, of this ship called the Aurang Medan that was near Indonesia. And apparently, a couple of U.S. ships were passing and they got distress signals. And when they went aboard the ship, they found a bunch of corpses everywhere. There was even the corpse of a dog. Um, and all the corpses had faces of like horror on them, like all gape mouth, eyes wide open. And when they tried to tow the ship back to shore to investigate, the ship apparently blew up. And there, as you can see, the game is borrowing from that legend there. And yeah, it's actually a pretty freaky story. I encourage you to Google it and decide for yourself whether it's a myth, legend, or it actually happened. It's pretty crazy.
So Addy, tell me if like how does this game play? Is it play as a first person? Does it play as a third person? Because I'm not familiar with the game. I know I've heard of it, and there's a lot of other gamers I'm sure out there that haven't necessarily had the chance to try it out. But how does the game play overall on specific Mountain of Medan? I mean, is there any challenges? Do you like the controls? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. So it plays as a third person over the shoulder type of game. In terms of action, it's not very heavy action oriented. You're not like running around sprinting, grabbing guns and shooting. There are some moments like that, but it's mainly quick time events and stuff like that. So it's a story. It's more focused on the story rather than the gameplay. The controls are fluid and smooth. They're there. They do what they need to do. And it's super fun. There's a couple different like aspects of fear as well when you're playing it, because you're like trying to evade the pirates as well as the supernatural element, and you know you're counting on your friends and your buddies as well to like do the right thing and make the right decision. And there's actually an element in the game called the dark picture element, which is in the title, and it lets you, if you find like when you're searching around, there's little hidden pictures, and when you look at them you can see a future premonition scenario of something going wrong. So then you can remember, like, okay, I gotta try and avoid that scenario which best way I can. So it adds like another cool dynamic to the game where you can like kind of find out something that could possibly go wrong and try and avoid that, but while you're trying to avoid that, end up doing something else completely wrong.
Well,
So
aside from this being horror, it is definitely like there's definitely a major element of mystery to it as well, right?
yeah, for sure. It's that horror, mystery, thriller, and you're in the pilot seat for everything. You're controlling, you're deciding what to say to the characters, and the characters will, you know, remember the things that you say, so you can like destroy relationships between characters and stuff like that. So it really is your own story to mold, which is something I really appreciated of the game.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's is it on both systems? Is it like or more than the two? Can you find this on like what systems can we find this on?
Yeah, for sure. It's on PS4 and Xbox. So I highly recommend you grab it on one of those, whichever one you have. Super fun Halloween game to play this Halloween season. And they're actually coming out with another installment. So the Dark Pictures Anthology is pretty much like the umbrella, you know, series. And then Man of Medan was the first episode. They're actually coming out with another episode called Little Hope. And that's coming out this week, actually, so very soon. And it takes place in this like ghost town where there's like has a history of witchcraft, so it's a whole completely different element instead of like more nautical horror. It's that like small town ghost vibe type of thing. So I'm really excited to play that one as well. I'm gonna check that
Kind of
out.
feels like part of the same universe almost, right? Like as you.
Yeah. So it's pretty much like all stories that take place in under the same kind of umbrella. It's really cool.
Very nice. Yeah, nice franchise with Dark Pictures there as well. What they're doing, that sounds awesome. So
Yeah.
I mean, the next game that you were, I know you walked in as that. I mean, we're looking at Friday the 13th here. I mean, tell us.
Yeah, Friday the 13th, the video game, man. I was so happy when this game was coming out. I'm such a huge Friday the 13th and Jason fan. And when this game came out, I was so hyped. And I'm not gonna lie, even as a fan, it's a well-known thing that the game it's not a triple A title, so it is kind of buggy and things don't look as sharp as they could nowadays, but that doesn't take away from how just pure fun the game is. It's basically like a 1 versus 5 or 10 survival horror game. So it's an online multiplayer game. And one person plays as Jason, and the rest of the members are camp counselors. And the goal of Jason is, of course, to kill everybody. And the camp counselor the job is to escape. Or there's one very special win condition where you can actually kill Jason. But there's a lot of moving parts. You got to like get his mom's sweater, get a girl to put it on, and then Tommy Jarvis has to come in and shoot him. It's a whole bunch of stuff. That's why I like this game, is that there's so many aspects to it, and it's so fun that every game you play can go completely different.
Wow. Can you actually play as Jason in the game?
Yeah, so that's the thing, is that's my favorite part of the game, is playing as Jason, of course, stepping into the shoes of the masked killer himself. And it's crazy. All the kills are there. He has some extremely gory kills. When you catch a camp counselor, you can like, if you there's different weapons you can use. You can use a spear, machete, and you can like put their head through the spear, throw them through glass, break their neck, rip their head off. It's insane stuff you can do. And
I just hope that game doesn't create more psychos out there, right?
yeah, I know. Hopefully not. Hopefully I'm.
Yeah, it's all good. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know that.
It's all fun. They're not real people. They're only video game people,
exactly.
as we all may know. I mean,
and hope that there's no Jason lurking out there. But another cool thing about the game is that every skin that Jason can have different costumes, right, based on each movie. So in like the second movie, he had a sack hood. In like the third, he finally gets his mask. In 8, he looks like a zombie, and it's pretty crazy. So you can get these different skins, and with these different skins come different abilities based on the movie. So if he, like, for example, if he didn't run in part 2, he's not going to be able to run when you're wearing that skin. But you can put on the part 3 skin, and then you'll be able to run in game. Or the part like 8 skin will be able to move in water very fast. Like, there's a lot of different aspects to their strategy as well, depending on what skin you choose, which I found was a really nice touch that they added to the game, apart from having all the awesome skins from the movies, which is so cool. And then playing as the camp counselor is also not like, it's super fun. It's not like, oh man, I'm the camp counselor. It's actually pretty crazy, because when Jason like pops up behind you, sometimes you're put in a situation like, oh my god, I gotta run. I gotta either try and distract him so I can get away. It's insane, and it adds such anxiety to when you're playing, and you like see your screen flicker, and you know he's nearby, and you can like hide in cabinets and stuff like that. And there's
quick question: Can you play as Jason X, like the futuristic Jason?
Yo, yeah, they actually were just adding that in the game. They're doing DLCs, so they added, I believe, a Jason X skin, which was so cool that I saw that. There's one.
That was just like such a fun, silly movie.
Exactly, yeah.
You have to play Jason X. I mean, if you're gonna play Jason, you're gonna have to play Jason X. But
exactly, that metal mask like melted to the skin.
Yeah, you gotta have that. And it's because like, it's just so over the top, right? In a game like that, I could just so see myself being Jason X, killing people. It'd be fun. It was just. You gotta kill people as Jason X, right? So
exactly, man. That Jason X, that movie had the best kill as well. Yeah. That the freezing and the nitrogen oxide or whatever, and then when he bashed her head and like split open, it was crazy.
I wish they had a Jason versus Freddy mode. Is there anything like that in there?
Oh no, sadly not.
Not yet, eh? Because
Leatherface and all those guys actually got added into Dead by Daylight, which is a similar sort of game. But Freddy and Michael Myers and Leatherface, they're in that one. But Jason gets his own game, and I couldn't be more happy about that.
Of course, no, for sure. I mean, and it's well worth it. I tell anybody out there. I mean, I've seen a bit of the gameplay. It looks pretty awesome from what I've seen over the years. I haven't played it myself. I'm not big on playing certain horror games, but I do like zombie games personally. So I mean, that's my thing, and I'll share my little list after we end off with your list of 3 here for today.
Yeah, and another cool thing is when you're playing as the camp counselor, there's multiple win conditions as well. So you can either repair the car and drive away to escape. You can call the police, and the police have like a 9-minute timer to when they're going to arrive. And when they arrive at one of the exits, you got to find your way there. And you can kill Jason. There's a lot of different, you can escape by boat. So there's a lot of different ways, and it keeps each game that you play online fresh. So you'll always be jumping into some new scenario with your friends, which is why I appreciate it.
Of course. No, I mean that's awesome, and I mean it's still still a pretty hot game. You could probably find it at most most game shops, GameStops, EB, right?
Oh, for sure. They're advertising it like crazy on all the e-shops and e-stores around this time of year, and it actually does have a pretty decent following. Like a lot of people are like streaming the game on Twitch around this time of year, and
it's been around for a few years already, right? Like
for a couple years, fairly recent. It's been on PC longer, and then console got it more recently.
Nice. No, for sure. For sure. And it seems like one of those things that definitely guys pick it up, especially now with Halloween. I mean, if you're looking for some cheap thrills, and that's definitely like a cheap thrill now, because I mean the game's probably not that expensive anymore. I've seen it for between like 20 to 30 bucks. So I mean,
Exactly. That's the thing. Both Dark Pictures and Friday the 13th, great budget games. They're not super expensive and they're super fun and great to play around this time of year.
for sure, for sure. And so tell us a little bit about your next game. I mean, this is a series. I'll share a little bit of something about this after you're done, but great series, great.
Nice. Yeah. This series definitely has a lot of history to it. And when this installment came out, it kind of changed the whole formula. And that is Resident Evil. More specifically, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. Now, when I first played this game, it was something completely different than what I expected. For those of you who have played a Resident Evil game before, I'm sure you know, I'm talking about like maybe 4, 5, 6, even the earlier ones. They all feel very like Resident Evil. You know you're playing a Resident Evil game, and they have a certain formula that they stick to. And when this came along, it changed it to the point where when I was first playing, I'm like, how is this a Resident Evil game? Like, what is going on? It's so different. It's this little like isolated small town story, whereas Rez was always focused on the more like citywide stuff, and you're in the precinct and you're in the city and stuff like that, in the village in 4 and stuff like that. But this game is confined to this mansion in 7, pretty similar to I think the first or second one, and it changes the mechanics of the game completely. And when it's the thing I love about it the most is when you're playing through the game, you're getting through the story, you're picking up the files, you're reading them, like the dossiers and stuff like that throughout the game. You slowly start to realize, like, damn, this is a Resident Evil game, and it's a new face of Resident Evil, and you appreciate it that much more. The atmosphere in this game is so freaking scary. It gives me like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like backwoods hillbilly, like scary, murderous kind of vibes. And when you're walking through the house, and there's these 3 members of the family that the game is surrounding, you come to this mansion. There's 3 members of the dad, the mom, and the son. And the dad is just like wandering around the mansion, so there's a chance that you could just run into him. And it's crazy. Like it gives this like live sort of feeling. And oh man, it's true survival horror, because you're always like scraping for ammo and low on health and like barely getting by. So you're always in a sense of danger. Like very few times in this game am I thinking, okay, thank God I have a breather, I'm safe. It's always, oh my God, how do I get out of here? What do I need to do now? I need to get out of here as fast as possible.
And I think this is one of the first games that, like, first big VR horror games, right? Like this was one of the main. I know they developed it for VR as well. Like,
Yeah.
Have you played this in VR at all?
No, I haven't had the chance to play it in VR, and to be honest, I don't know if I will. I'm way too scared playing the regular game as is, so I feel like putting on the VR will like I'll probably pass out or something. But for the warriors out there who want to try it, I've heard great things about the VR experience. It is first person, so I can see how it can adapt well to VR. Just the atmosphere in this game, I'm telling you, is amazing, and they've actually added DLC to it as well. So there's extra DLC that I still gotta play. So I wanna get those. I wanna play those because this game is just so good where it wants to. One of my friends has actually just played the game and he beat it. He loved it. He's going back to do it on Madhouse difficulty, which is an even harder difficulty. 1-hit kills, like almost 0 to no ammo. It's crazy. So there's a lot of content in the game, and it definitely is a gritty horror game at its core. This is survival horror at its core, and I just really appreciate that Resident Evil decided to switch things up, do something new, and it actually paid off immensely because the games that came out after, when they remastered 2 and 3, were made in the same vein, had the same mechanics as 7. So now Resident Evil kind of has this new face, and with the new one coming out, 8, and it's called Village, you're gonna, I think, continue the story of Ethan, who was the same character in 7.
And not the M. Night Shyamalan Village movie, guys. It's a very different.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was like, it wasn't a horrible movie. It was just a really awkward ending. But But I do want to say, guys, like Resident Evil, and not just Biohazard 7. There are, for especially for Halloween, there's so many other great Resident Evil games as a franchise. It definitely sticks out there as one of the best video game franchises for horror, for zombie, for post-apocalyptic universe. I mean, the movies were awesome. And actually, one thing I want to share is I years ago worked on Resident Evil 2. I was actually a featured extra who actually I got my first line as an ACTRA union member, an actor here in Canada, working on Resident Evil 2. So I got to meet Mila Jovovich, and I just love everything that series did from day one. Mind you, I still think number 2 was one of the worst movies possible, but I ended I ended up making making it into the trailer, oddly enough. So I mean, it was pretty cool.
Nice, exactly. Now we got another reason to go back and watch that one.
Yeah, no, it was. I was on the Bloor Bridge, and here in Toronto, they shot us. I was a raccoon police officer. I had the whole. I was probably like at least like 50 pounds less at the time, and all geared up. It was awesome. But I mean, we went up, and they had half the cast, half the extras as zombies, half the extras as just civilians, and then they had the raccoon police guarding these gates. It kind of feels like it does now with COVID. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I mean, as a franchise, they always knew what to do well. I even feel like the movies got better over the years. I thought the first one was great. I thought the second one was like, meh. After the second one, it got a bit better, and then after I think 4 or 5, it just moved on, and the stories got better with the films as well. So the stories, the films, the games are just amazing. So definitely check out that franchise if you're looking for something over the Halloween holidays and just the weekend. Watch the movies, play the games, do it all. Why
exactly,
not?
yeah. There's a lot of great Resident Evil games out there. And they're all scary in their own right, but man, 7 just has this extra like push to it that's like really like horror. Like it's pretty crazy. So highly recommend you check that out.
Yeah.
What's
your other favorite Resident Evil game? Would you say aside from 7? If you had to like,
aside from 7, a lot of people are gonna say, "Oh man, 4 is the best. 4 is the best." But the one that I've played probably more than 4 is 5.
I was going to say 5.
Yeah, 5 with Shiva and Chris in Africa. That was a cool game. That was a wicked game. And then the Executioner and stuff like that in the first levels. Oh man, that was a wild ride. And the multiplayer is a great multiplayer game. There's 2 characters. Great multiplayer game if you're looking to play with somebody, couch co-op or online. I recommend you check out 5 as well. That one's
Plus, I think 5 to me felt like it was like it definitely encompassed the universe, the Resident Evil universe in there. Probably the best in many ways. Like it had the raunchiness to it, but it had everything else as well. So you're kind of like, it just felt like Resident Evil to its core too. So I mean, this being kind of like, it feels almost like a spin-off of Resident Evil, which is
it's like the location.
Well, that's the thing. It feels like Walking Dead when they do their spin-offs. It's like the same type of thing, even with their Telltale games. So I mean, this has somewhat of a feeling there. Speaking of which, some of my favorite Halloween games, and I'll get into this right now. I've always loved 7 Days to Die. Simple game, but great game. If you want to play a survivalist kind of zombie game, Days Gone, another great game. Classic for everyone. I mean, these are just like, for me personally, like I said, I'm a big zombie game fanatic. Love the Resident Evil franchise as well.
Nice. I mean, yeah. Left 4 Dead is a big zombie one. That's one of my favorites. Super fun game. And I think they're actually making, like, there was a fan expansion to the game that actually is becoming official. Like, Valve is like sponsoring it to make it legit. So I just saw that recently. I saw a clip on YouTube for it, and it looks wicked that they're like kind of resurrecting the game because everybody's been screaming for a third one. And it hasn't been made, but Left 4 Dead is a wicked 4-player split screen memories with that one are insane, man. And all the different zombie types, the tanker, the bloater, and there's like one mission for each level. You gotta there's one level where you gotta fill up the car with gas and then get out of the mall, and one where you gotta get to a chopper and stuff like that. It's pretty crazy, a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, for sure. Some of the best honestly horror games out there are these zombie games. I just feel like because it's pure survivalist, game. You're in a different kind of situation than your typical like Call of Duty type game where you're just this is what you're not killing random people, you're killing zombies who are still coming at you after they're dead. So I mean, it's not that easy to
Exactly.
kill them,
Yeah.
right? So it's a very different scenario. So I mean, to me, that's why I stick to that. But definitely, even Friday the 13th, another great game.
Yeah, and touching on Call of Duty, since you mentioned it, actually, Call of Duty did a fantastic Halloween update, which me and my buddies have been enjoying now. It's called Haunting in Verdansk, or Haunting of Verdansk, and it's that's the Warzone map if you don't know. And they added the characters Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Billy from Saw, so you can get the skins. So you're like running around Call of Duty, you see like Leatherface run by and like Billy run by, and it's wild. It's pretty cool.
Oh, for
There's like
sure.
a dark mode and stuff like that. New Halloween like skins and charms. So it's pretty cool that all these games like incorporate all the Halloween vibes. Animal Crossing as well had their update, which a lot of people love. And yeah, it's just nice to see that the seasons really play a factor into the games we love.
Yeah, the spirit's definitely out there of Halloween, especially in the gaming world. And I mean, I can't wait to see what else they got over the next few years. The more they pump out, the better it is. So I mean, yeah, man, I'm excited. Happy Halloween, everyone, guys. And yeah, man, it's awesome to be on your show again for this as well.
Yeah, for sure, buddy. Thanks for joining me. I want to wish a happy and safe Halloween to everybody out there. Want to make sure you watch your favorite horror movies, play your favorite scary games, and eat your favorite candy, the most important part of Halloween. So, thank you, Yaron, for stopping by and being my co-host on this awesome episode of Game Changers for you guys. And we'll see you guys soon with another fantastic episode.
Awesome. You take care, guys. Happy Halloween.
Take care.